in a weird way, they are making him the Norman Rockwell iconic personification of what you want your president to be. They're turning him into Reagan when it comes to a victory in 2 weeks. I want mine supersized. You can supersize my victory this election day because we just saw something incredible occur in the suburbs of Philadelphia. Donald Trump, what started out as just a plain old troll of Kamala Harris and her ridiculous claim that she worked at a McDonald's during the summer 1 year in college, it turned into an iconic moment in American political history. It could very well be the moment that turned the 2024 election. And to set the stage here, remember, Kamala Harris made this claim. It came up during one of those softball interviews on Drew Barrymore's show. And Drew Barrymore said, oh, or no, actually, it was like the little dude that's on the show with Drew Barrymore who said, somebody told me that you worked at McDonald's. And of course, by the way, that means someone from your campaign told me to ask you about working at McDonald's. So now please give your scripted answer. And she claimed that she worked at a McDonald's during the summer when she was in college. Now, she went to Howard University in Washington, D.C., so it should be pretty easy for her to give specifics on this. And she's never given specifics. Which McDonald's? What year? Or was it back in Montreal where they served gravy on the fries? Because, you know, it's a poutine situation. Never answered a damn thing about it. Donald Trump questioned it. The Washington Free Beacon did some of their crack investigative journalism, and they found out from the McDonald's Corporation that there is no record of any kind at any time of anyone named Kamala Harris working for their company, whether from a corporate-owned McDonald's or from one of the franchises. Well, that's curious, isn't it? Stephanie Ruhle, who scored the first one-on-one interview with Kamala Harris after she'd become the nominee for the Democrats, asked her specifically about it, but she asked it as a joke. Remember, she said, did you ever serve 2 beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, peas, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun? And Kamala Harris said yes. And Stephanie Ruhle said, well, that's all I need to know. No follow-ups, no challenges. They made it into a joke. Well, Donald Trump decided to troll a little bit, and he volunteered to work at a McDonald's yesterday in the suburbs of Philadelphia in Bucks County. And as I said, what started out as a troll ended up quite possibly as the turning point of this election. Take a look at what the scene looked like as Donald Trump showed up in his signature dark blue suit, red tie.
Hello, everybody.
Sir?
My first day at McDonald's. I'm looking for a job.
President Trump up there, Jack Antonio. I'm the owner.
Oh, that's a good owner. Must be a wealthy guy, huh? Thank you very much.
Hello, everybody. It's my first day of work. I'm here to get a job at McDonald's. And good for this owner, by the way, braving all of the hellfire that's going to come raining down upon him, as you know, because this is what the left does in this country. Donald Trump explained exactly what he was looking for at this McDonald's.
If you don't mind, I want to work at the French fry counter.
Absolutely.
Okay, how much are you paying me?
How much are you paying?
Hello, everybody.
Inda's here. This is Inda. She has an apron for you.
Good job. First day.
I think I should take off my jacket.
So here he gets the iconic apron with the... I'm sorry, everything about this makes me smile and laugh because it's just brilliant. So then he has to take off his jacket, and he kept his perfectly pressed, bleached white dress shirt, probably Brooks Brothers, and he kept the red tie on, and then he put on the apron, and the next thing you know, he's learning to be a fry cook. I love this kid. He just points out, do that, and he walks away. This is great. There he is, shaking the excess oil off. How many times have we seen this happen as we go to McDonald's? I love this. Look at the guy. He's training him, but he doesn't. He's not being an idiot about it. He just, all right, this is my job. This is how I train you, so I'm going to train you. Shakes off the excess oil. He moves down the lane. He goes to dump it in the little vat that's full of salt. All right. Next step on the fries. Let's see what that looked like. By the way, Trump gave running commentary while he was doing this, too. Nice and neat. Add the salt. Fill it up. Never touches the human hands. And he filled in the little red iconic little cardboard box there that gets the French fries in it. And then so he learned that. He learned French fries in about 15 minutes and he was done. And then he turned to the cameras, by the way, and he said, I've now worked longer than Kamala Harris ever did at a McDonald's. I know that's a bad Trump impersonation. I'm sorry. We all have our strengths. That's not one of mine. Then they moved him over to the drive-in window. And of course, everybody who was in the drive-in trying to order their Big Macs or whatever, they had all been screened by the Secret Service. This was, we're going to get to the criticisms of this in a moment, but I was like, this was all planned and orchestrated. Well, of course it is. For God's sake, the guy suffered 2 assassination attempts. They're not going to let some Joe from Philly drive through the drive-through to go pick up a fillet of fish and then try to off the guy who's, running for president. Of course, the Secret Service screened everybody, but still, I want you to watch Trump interact with everybody at the drive-through window, and you tell me if Kamala Harris could even come a mile within this guy's retail politics and his ability to talk to people.
I could do this all day. I wouldn't mind this job. I like this job. I think I might come back and do it again.
Thank you.
Look at that. Look at that. How are you?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Nice to see you.
You made it possible for ordinary people like us to meet you.
You're not ordinary.
I mean, thank you so
You
much
are
for
not
everything you're
ordinary. I
doing.
can see.
We pray for you, and you are the type of person we want to be the president.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
So nice.
Taking the bullet for
Thank you very much. Yeah, I took a bullet. That's right.
Thank you, Mr. President.
When you think about it, I guess that's right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Can we watch? I'm sorry. This is so wholesome and so heartwarming. And how people look at this and get like in a blind rage and fury, it speaks so much of who they are versus who Donald Trump is. We need to break this down together. Here, this man of Indian descent shows up. And I know it's a little off mic, but I want to make sure you heard it. And I'll just tell you what happens here in this exchange so you'll watch it again. He says, thanks, you made it so ordinary people like us can meet you. And then Trump immediately cuts him off and says, you're not ordinary. You're not ordinary. And then at the end, you'll see his wife, also of Indian descent, says, thank you for taking a bullet for us. Because that's how people see him. That's how people see what he's endured, that he has taken a bullet for us. And not just the actual bullet, but all the other crap that he has to put up with his enemies, with our enemies. They are enemies, sadly, because they're doing whatever they can to keep a free and fair election process from occurring here. They're interfering with this election through the indictments, through the lawfare, and through the censorship, through stifling voices, from keeping a actual exchange of ideas in this country. That's all election interference. And I'll stop. Let's watch this.
Look at that. Look at that. How are you?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Nice to see you.
You made it possible for ordinary people like us to meet you.
You're not ordinary.
I mean, thank you so
You
much
are
for
not
everything
ordinary.
you're
I
doing.
can see.
We pray for you, and you are the type of person we want to be the president.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
So nice.
taking the bullet for
Thank you very much. Yeah, I took a bullet. That's right.
Thank you, Mr. President.
When you think about it, I guess that's right.
Thank you.
I love Trump. Take a bullet. Yeah, when you think about it, I guess that's right. That is what I did. Yeah, that's right. He also said we were praying for you. You hear that a lot at Trump rallies and at these events that Trump attends. All right. And then again, working the drive-through window. Just imagine driving through it at McDonald's and having Donald Trump leaning out the window in his apron and red tie, handing you your bag of McNuggets. This is a woman who is a Brazilian immigrant who drove up to the window to get her McDonald's. Let's take a look.
A lot of fun here, everybody.
Oh my God! Oh my
Look at the
God!
fake- Look at all the fake news over there. Hello, everybody.
I don't know if you caught that. Because Trump just caught, all the cameras set up on the other side of the parking lot where he's handing it out. And he says to the woman, look at all the fake news over there. Did you catch that? Here, watch.
Everybody,
Oh
look
my
at-
God! Oh
look
my
at the
God!
fake- Look at all the fake news over there. Hello, everybody.
You can fake this,
And
right?
you know this is compliments of Trump, okay?
Yes, thank
Okay.
you. Mr. President,
Yes.
please don't let the United States become Brazil, my native Brazil.
We'll keep it
Please,
good.
please, please.
We're going to make it better than ever, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure, Mr.
Compliments
President.
of Trump. Have a
Yes.
good time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you over there. How you doing?
Oh my God.
Have a good time.
Thank
Nice
you.
to
You
see
too,
you.
Mr.
Bye,
President.
darling.
See you.
Have a good time. Thank you.
What a beautiful family. And if you caught that, she said, please don't let America become like my native Brazil. And he said, no, we're going to make it better than ever. All right, a little bit more of Trump working the window here, guys.
Okay, these are nice people we're meeting.
So you're here going
Okay. Jerry, look at this guy. I'm not going to mess with him. Huh? How you doing, sir? Fantastic. Hello. My new baby boy. How are you? Your new baby. How are you? Doing great. How are you? So this is compliments of me, okay? All right. You go have a good time. Don't eat too much, right? Have a great day. Thank you, man. You take care. Thank you, honey. Have a good time. Thank you.
Again, I ask, could Kamala or Tim Walz ever come close to this? Now, like I said, this is listen, retail politics, and it's obviously set up as a photo op. It's set up as a troll. But what ended up happening was this iconic moment in American political history where, with all of the crap they've thrown at this man, like I said, the lawfare and the criminal indictments and the personal attacks and just everything, the FBI raids and the calling him Hitler and the attacks on his family, and somehow, because knowing that he endures all of this and knowing that we, the American people, hear all of these attacks on him, and it's become this narrative in this country that the man is evil incarnate, that he's a fascist, that he's just horrible, right? And then you go to social media or you turn on the television, you see these images, and it's like, in this very weird way, because of all the negativity they've thrown at him, because of all of the crap that he's had to endure, when he has a moment like this, in a weird way, they are making him the Norman Rockwell iconic personification of what you want your president to be. They're turning him into Reagan, is what they're doing, because he doesn't come across in any way as this evil monster that they continue to say he is. In fact, quite the opposite when he interacts with people. And you see this image of Trump at this McDonald's dressed up to sell French fries. And it's like, yeah, that's what I want my president to be able to do. I know he's Donald Trump. I know he's doing this for votes. I know it's political. That doesn't matter. I want that. And it comes across as genuine. It doesn't come across as phony. And you know how else I know this was an absolute grand slam, 10 out of 10, perfect political operation, not just in effectively trolling Kamala Harris and pointing out how disingenuous and what a liar she is, because they still have not said, it's so simple. All they have to do is say, yeah, it was this McDonald's. And here's a picture of me working there. Or here's, I still have a paycheck stub or a W-2 or something. I don't know. I can tell you that I've worked a lot of. When I was 15 years old, I worked at a Little Caesars Pizza. It was in Costa Mesa, California. It was on 17th and Newport Avenue. I worked for, and I guarantee you that Little Caesars can find that information if necessary. Go ahead and look it up. I was great at it, by the way. I worked at Disneyland from the age of 17 through 19. I worked in the parades. I danced down Main Street, USA. That's right, I was in the parade. And Disney can find that. And I can tell you exactly what parades I did. I can tell you people I worked with. How is it that Kamala Harris has not been able to do that? So not only was it a perfect troll of her, pointing out how fake and what a fraud she is and what a liar she is, but it created these iconic images that just make people feel good about him, about something iconic and American as a McDonald's, and about this election. And by the way, this was in the suburbs of Philadelphia in Bucks County, one of the most important swing counties in the country. All of those reasons tell you that this was a grand slam, home run, Hail Mary touchdown, 10 out of 10. But you know what really tells me that this worked? You know what really tells me how effective this was? The way the left reacted. Take a look, as we just saw those images, as we got our reaction and how it made us feel. And make no mistake, politics is about feelings. Watch how MSNBC felt about the same images and about the same political appearance.
If you're on his campaign, and I know you are certainly not, I'm not making any implication of that, but what is the logic behind this, going to a McDonald's? I mean, we know the guy likes Big Macs and filet of fish, and he's used the word love to describe the way he feels about the food there before. But what's this about?
By the way, before we hear her guest give the answer. Did you notice the snide looking down her nose and her elitist snobby? Oh, I know he loves the food at McDonald's. Me, I wouldn't get caught dead there. It's in McDonald's, right? Do you catch the tone and the entire elitist attitude from this, Manhattan news anchor on a weekend at MSNBC who just, sure, he and his people might eat at McDonald's, but what's this really all about? Now, listen to the reaction from the guest, the Democrat analyst who's supposed to actually give some sort of political perspective on this.
There's no logic to it. It's a stunt. He has not put forth an economic agenda. He, as you know, appears to be not well, and he's engaged in some really bizarre types of activities during this campaign. So this is just another one of those stunts that he will continue on through the campaign. And I think that we need to really focus on making sure that he is not elected, of course, because he is a threat to our democracy, but also the Harris loss agenda is about the economy, reducing the cost of living.
Yeah, sure it is. I'm gonna let you finish, but do you get the irony, the discordant media experience that we're all sharing here as we see Donald Trump in an apron learning how to make French fries at a McDonald's, and this woman in her shrill voice saying he's a threat to democracy. Does he look like a threat to democracy? He may be a threat to cholesterol right now. He may be a threat to your waistline because the French fries he's making are so crispy on the outside and fluffy and warm on the inside that you won't be able to stop with just one. That may be the threat. But the threat to democracy? I don't think so. But this is what MSNBC, this is the sewer that they're dwelling in right now. This tells you how effective this was, that this is how angry they are. Sorry, I'm going to let you finish with Kamala's great agenda to bring down the cost of living, which again, as she lays it out there, just ask yourself, why isn't she doing it now if she can?
Reducing the cost of prescription drugs, reducing the cost of housing, and making life better for everyone. And that's what we have to focus on and make sure we get every voter to the polls and make sure that the voters vote for the future, not taking the country backwards, as you see what Donald Trump continues to try to do. So I'm urging and encouraging everyone to get to the polls and vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz.
Well, that's a fine political analysis right there. You get your money's worth there on MSNBC, don't you? Let me just say that if I had asked you a year ago, 5 years ago, can you imagine Donald Trump going to work for a day at a McDonald's? Would you even hesitate? Of course, you'd say, yeah, I can see that. Of course he would do that. Even today now, can you imagine Kamala Harris doing this? Can you imagine Kamala Harris doing what Trump did at a McDonald's? I got a better question for you. Can you imagine Kamala Harris? And again, let me just be clear. Anybody can do anything, sure. But in a natural way, in an authentic way, in a way that is appealing and actually warm, the way that Trump did this. Can you see Kamala Harris doing that? Even better. Can you see Kamala Harris going to a McDonald's and eating a burger? More examples of how we know this was a complete nightmare for the left. Here's how CBS News this morning covered this story.
Thank you.
It capped off a day of campaign stops.
And I've always wanted to work at McDonald's.
That included a visit to a McDonald's, closed just for him, where he tried scoring political points after claiming without any evidence that Vice President Harris didn't once work at the fast food chain while in college.
She never worked at McDonald's.
She says she did.
I'm sorry, what? Ed O'Keefe, CBS News, this is what amounts to a fact check now? He claimed without evidence that she never worked there, but she claims she did. I'm sorry, where's the without evidence part? She claims she did work there, also without any evidence. No. It's just Trump's claim that she never worked at a McDonald's that gets the without evidence tag. But Kamala Harris assuring everyone that she did, that's good enough for us. Hey, babe, if you say you worked there, absolutely you worked there. Good for you. That's CBS News. But I have to tell you, There were some eagle-eyed participants of this event on social media that really did nail Donald Trump as the fraud that he is. Take a look at this. I don't know if you know this dude, Ron Filipkowski. He's a online influencer from the left and an odious individual. He figured it out. He caught us. This is the October surprise, man. This is going to doom Donald Trump. Look at that. The place wasn't even open. It was staged and fake. He didn't work for real at a McDonald's. It was a staged fraud, just like every other event. You see, this was the letter that was posted on the window of the McDonald's yesterday. We plan to be closed on Sunday, October 20th until 4 p.m. to accommodate a visit at the request of former President Trump and his campaign. And then they go through the whole thing about how they're honored to share the significance about 1 in 8 Americans experienced a job at McDonald's, and they'd love for the Harris campaign to come by too. And of course, they have to bend over backwards and make all these apologies of why they're closing for Trump. But the key here is that Ron figured out that he didn't actually legitimately work at a McDonald's, guys. We are so screwed. He caught us. What a moron. What a complete and total nincompoop. Who thought that he really took a job at McDonald's? Nobody really thought that he took a job at McDonald's except for this moron. Are you serious? This is your big gotcha? Hey, guys, he didn't really work there. You know, this was just staged for the cameras. Of course it was. I love it when they try to point out something like this, like their gotcha moment, and all they actually reveal is how stupid they are. I think we let J.D. Vance sum it up the best. He, of course, had to be called into Fox News this time to break down the outrage over Donald Trump going to work for a McDonald's.
And the fact that these people are accusing him of a stage managed thing, of course, the president has to have security because there have been 2 attempts on his life in the last 8 weeks. He can't just walk into a McDonald's and sign a W-9 and actually go on the payroll. That's just not how this works, especially given the security threats on his life. But look, he was interacting with people. He was talking to the employees. He was giving people food. And he was just being, I think, what he does best, which is just being among the people, talking to them about what they care about. He showed, I think, genuine interest in the employees and their lives and where they came from and what they were actually doing in their job. And that's something you can't stage and you can't fake. That is just the genuine person that Donald Trump is. And it's why I think a lot of working people, even though, of course, he's a successful real estate billionaire, have this emotional connection to Donald Trump. You can't make up that kind of connection. Unfortunately, Kamala Harris has tried and failed. And I think it's why her campaign is flailing a little bit right now, is because she goes into Sheets and does 4 takes of her buying Doritos. Donald Trump just goes into McDonald's and he is who he is, and people love him.
That's absolutely right. And by the way, just in terms of pure politics here, because, these candidates, they're going to be all over Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, Georgia, North Carolina, maybe Arizona, although that's starting to look a little out of reach, and Michigan, where I am right now, meeting battleground state voters and seeing what's happening on the ground in Michigan. That's where they're going to be. And it's events like this that are going to make the difference to convince those voters who are still on the fence or who haven't quite made their decision, or even more importantly, to get out those people to make sure that they show up to vote, the people who have already committed to vote for you. You saw what Donald Trump did. And I believe it was pretty damn effective, not just to motivate the people who are already on board with him, because it just makes pro-Trump voters feel good about him as a candidate and him as a person. But I think that actually appeals to the people who may have still been on the fence, who haven't decided one way or the other. Meanwhile, it's instructive to see what Kamala Harris did at the same time. She was in Michigan, but not really in Michigan. She was exclusively in Detroit and did a rally with Lizzo, who put out a video showing her getting onto a private jet, claiming that by showing up in Detroit on her private jet, she was saving democracy. And when Lizzo got to introduce Kamala Harris, she got to the microphone and extolled the virtue of Kamala Harris's plan to make America just like Detroit. I'm not kidding. That's the message to voters. Let me tell you something. as someone who was born in Detroit, who knows Michigan pretty well, people in Detroit don't want Detroit to be like Detroit. To say that the rest of make America Detroit again, I don't think is the takeaway message that the Kamala Harris campaign was really hoping to convey to the rest of the country. That's what they got in their swing state visit. And that imagery that you just saw at McDonald's, that's what the Trump campaign got. Pick your fighter. Me, when it comes to a victory in 2 weeks, I want mine supersized.